Why do people? Alright. Let's continue where we left off last time. God damn it, I don't want to keep seeing that it's Christmas. I really wish they could make the picture transitions skippable. I mean, it's not too long of a wait, but yeah. Okay, so last time, if I remember correctly, we went down and got Tenmyoji's ending. And basically, he ditched us. uh, we allied with Tenmyoji and he betrayed us. And clever wording is like, I'm not gonna open the number 9 door. Clover opened it. Tenmyoji and Quark both had more than 9. And the three of them just ran out. And because of plot armor, we couldn't stop them. Meanwhile, every time we try to get... What was it? Every time we try to get 9 points, we always get stopped dead in our tracks. I'm like, what the fuck? Why? What is this MC discrimination? Why can't we have a route where we win on, like, the bad end, as in screwing over other people? I did skip that one time? Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, I suppose that was true, yeah. We did get out with Dio and we were heading to some kind of settlement of survivors. Yeah, that slipped my mind a bit. So, I guess I kind of take that back. We did win once. Yeah, how you doing, Baretsu? But, let's see, anything else? No, the only thing that was left was to go down this route over here. Because everything else so far is kind of story locked with who planted the bomb. We still don't know what the ID is for the computer. And still story locked with having 5 minutes to live. So yeah. So what was this one? This was the Alice route. And we allied, and Alice betrayed us. But for some reason, she was still standing in the AB room, kind of like how she was when she had Radical 6 still. Even though we duplicated it perfectly, or supposed to duplicate it perfectly, she was just there. Alright. Betray. Luna and I stepped out of the AB room.
Sigma-san, どうしてですか? 裏切りを選ぶなんてフェアじゃない.
No, but someone is voting.
そう言ってたのに.
There was nothing I could think of to say. Even I didn't really understand why I picked Betray instead. It almost felt unconscious, like some other part of my mind was making the decision. Perhaps I'd been possessed by some sort of evil spirit that had moved my finger to the betray button against my will. Right, well, we should go see the results. The look in her eyes was more painful than any punch I'd ever taken. I turned away and almost ran toward the projector. Anything to get away from those eyes.
アンビデックスゲーム第2ラウンドの結果を発表します。一同画面にご注目ください。
Betray.
結果は以上のように確定しました。各自バングルの数字をご確認ください。
Uh, what? It was impossible. I blinked, rubbed my eyes, and looked again. No. How can Alice's vote be betray? That's not possible. Alice? She was standing inside the second room from the left. The room that should have been empty. Why? My mind was still reeling. Where had she come from? As I was trying to form a sentence, she began to move toward us. From around me, I heard a chorus of muted gasps. It seemed we were united in our surprise and confusion. Alice drew to a stop in front of me and glanced up at the display.
やってくれるわね。
What?
私が医務室にいたままだったらどうするつもりだったの？この卑怯者。
Will you pick betray when we pick ally in the other timeline, you bitch? Besides, you betrayed us first. Like you have any right to call us a fucking coward. Me a coward? You got some balls saying that to me after you picked betray. Why are you even here?
抗ウイルス薬打ってくれたんでしょ？天明寺さんから聞いたわ。ありがとう。その件についてだけは素直にお礼を言っとくわ。でも麻酔薬の効果はまだ。ええ、切れてないみたいね。おかげで頭はガンガンするし、クラクラとめまいもするし。私、麻酔薬に対する耐性が人一倍強いの。そういう風に鍛えられてるから。多分ゼロボスはそのこと知ってたのね。ここに拉致されてきた時には普通の人の何倍もの薬が投与されたんだと思うわ。とにかくそんなわけで私は医務室で目覚めたの。で天明寺さんから事情を聞いて慌ててここに駆けつけたってわけ。
So you showed up right after we got into the AV room.
そう、ギリギリのタイミングで滑り込んだのよ。確か締め切り時刻の10秒前のことだったわ。わざわざ裏切りを選ぶためにここへ？そうよ。いけない？実際に来て正解だったじゃない。あなたたちの投票先は裏切り。もしも私が医務室に留まったままだったら2点を失ってたことになるんだから。つまり自衛のためだったと。
Bullshit.
ええ。
It's the other way around. I was defending myself. You're full of shit. Self-defense my ass. You chose betray because you wanted out. You had 6 BP. If I'd pick ally, I would have had, or you would have had 9. That's what you were trying to do, right?
だとしたらなんだっていうの？
Are you serious? You would have killed me. Look, I only have 1 BP. You were this close to murdering me. Just admit it. You were planning to kill me so you could escape.
バカなこと言わないでよ。あなたたちが裏切りを選ぶのは分かってたわ。だから。
Tell the truth.
嘘じゃないわよ。だいたいなんで私ばっかりが責められなきゃいけないわけ？あの結果をよく見なさいよ。殺人未遂を犯した人間なら他に2人もいるじゃない。
Fine Dio.
そうよ。ディオが協力を選んでいたらファイは天明寺さんを、ファイが協力を選んでいたらディオはファイを殺すことになってたはず。こんな言い方をするのもなんですが、相手を出し抜いて脱出しようとした人も2人いますね。四つ葉さんと K さんです。どちらか一方が協力を選んでいたらもう一方の BP は必ず9になっていたはずで。
God, nobody fucking trusts each other. What a fucking mess. I turned to look at the results again. Before, I'd only been looking at my own. I didn't realize there's only one word across the roster. Betray. Whatever trust we managed to build had fallen apart. Everyone was suspicious of everyone else. Had it been the bombs? Or had it been something else? Whatever the reason, if it kept up, we'd never manage to escape. We'd be trapped in the cycle of 0-point rounds for the rest of our lives. Something had to be done. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Alright guys, pay attention. You've probably all already all figured this out. But we can't keep going like this. If we don't start being a little more trusting, we're never gonna get out of here. We need to work together. I might as well have been talking to a wall.
すみません、シグマさん。少し考えたいことがあります。一人にさせてください。
Okay.
俺も行かせてもらうぜ。こういう殺伐とした感じ苦手なんだよ。悪いな。
Dio.
それでは私も。
That too, Fi? Without another word, she turned and left the warehouse. Dio and Kay quickly followed suit.
ほらね、これが答えよ。結局みんな自分のことだけしか考えてないの。だから私だけを悪者みたいに言わないでくれる？さあ、行くわよ、四つ葉。
ちょっと待ってよ、アリス。体の方は大丈夫なの？本当に心配したんだからね。
I watched them walk away, Clover practically jumping with delight to have Alice back. Before long, they reached a yellow door and disappeared beyond it.
みんな行ってしまいましたね。
You aren't going to leave too?
ええ、
Are you sure? I chose betray.
知っています。でも私はシグマさんのことを信じてますから。
God damn. Can we have Luna's ending as a true ending?
きっと手が滑っただけだったんだと思います。
Okay. Okay, Luna. How many second chances are we gonna get with her?
そうでしょ？
My chest hurt. When I blinked, I felt something hot and wet prick the corners of my eyes. Luna, I bit my lip. Before I could think of anything to say, the metallic rumble of the doors closing echoed throughout through the warehouse.
アンビデックスゲートが閉鎖されました。アンビデックスゲーム第3ラウンドは星の回です。ゲートは星のなおこれを
As many times as we want, huh?
星のカードキーを使えば何度でも AB ゲームができる。どうやらそういうことみたいですね。ところでシグマさん、バングルを見せてもらえないですか？ほら、
Why?
ゼロウサギが言ってたじゃないですか。
AB ゲートが閉まると同時にバングルの表示色は自動的にシャッフルされるようになってるんだよさ。それからソロとペアの区別もね。
Yeah, I remember. Let's see here. I'm a cyan pair. What about you?
私は紫色のペアです。
I wonder what the others are.
確かめてみないとわからないですね。
We've got about 80 minutes until the next set of chromatic doors open. So, what should we do
みん
now?
なバラバラになってしまいましたね。
Yeah, physically and emotionally. I really don't like how this is going. It won't matter how many times we repeat the AB game if nobody trusts anybody else. We'll never be able to get out of here.
何か共通の目的があるといいんですが、そうすれば心を一つにできるような気がします。
Yeah, but we've already got something like that. We all want to get out of here. That seems like a pretty clear goal to me, but everyone chose betray, including me.
じゃあ敵を見つけるというのはどうでしょう？
An
は
enemy?
い、共通の敵です。
So Dio.
例えば2つの爆弾を仕掛けた犯人とか。
Like Dio. And I was kidding. After coming back from the lab, I told her about the bomb while she gave Alice and Quark the Stellavir. Yeah, that might work. If we can figure out which one of us planted those bombs, then everyone else will work together against them. But how do we figure out who it
何
is?
か手がかりはないんですか？
Clues, huh? Oh, that's right! The memory card! I pulled it out of my pocket and held it out toward her.
何ですかこれ？
I told you, a memory card. It was under the bomb we found in the lab. I think whoever set the bomb dropped it.
犯人の？
Yeah. I don't know what's on it though. We couldn't find any kind of memory card reader.
ですか。それじゃあ手がかりには。
Don't we have the thing in the infirmary?
待ってください。そういえばこれどこかで見たことが。
Huh.
あ、わかりました。医務室です。リオさんとクオーク君と一緒に医務室を探索した時、あの時にこれとそっくり同じ形をしたメモリーカードが。
Then...
中身を確認することができると思います。あそこにあったモニターにこのメモリーカードを差し込めば。
Luna and I exploded into the infirmary, nearly running into Alice, Clever, and Temioji. Bark was there as well, of course, but he was just as we left him, asleep on the bed.
何しに来たの？
I opened my mouth to retort, but then thought better of it. If I really wanted people to start trusting each other, well, the real change starts at home. As quickly as I could, I explained the second bomb and the memory card, and how we'd come to the infirmary in hopes that we could discover the contents of the latter.
わかったわ。
それじゃあ早速調べてみようよ。
シグマ、よろしく頼む。
Right. Just as Luna had said, there was a small slot under the screen, exactly the right size to fit a memory card. Within moments, the screen was filled with what appeared to be random letters. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I haven't done a word search puzzle in a while, but give me a second. No. Hold on. Also, I wonder if it's one of those kinds of word puzzles. Temperatsu, please. I wonder if it's one of those word puzzles, because I remember seeing some that have done something like this, where it's like you try to find a word by like kind of like weaving around like this, like, or some BS like that. Although that's not how it's supposed to be done, but I remember seeing some doing that instead of just like, you know, your diagonals or your horizontals or verticals and stuff. Let's see. I mean, I know like we'll probably go over this in a cutscene, but I want to try it here first. Let's see. Just reading horizontally. Huh. Well, I'm seeing. I mean, yeah, like you said, I'm seeing a lot of ones here, but or more like this over and over again. Actually, wait, are they all the same line? Oh no. Oh yeah, wait, they're all the same line. Or well, like every line or every other line is a repeat. Huh. I wonder what that's about. He doesn't see it. I saw it. Look.
22文字のアルファベットが6行か。
1行目、3行目、5行目と2行目、4行目、6行目は、つまり1行目と2行目の繰り返しになっているということですね。うん。
Is this some kind of code or something?
でたらめな文字列とは思えん。おそらくそうじゃろう。
他にデータはないみたいです。
So all we get is this gibberish. Hey Alice, you said you haven't seen or you haven't said anything for a while. What's up?
これを見て何か気づいたことはない？
気づいたこと？
研修の時に見たでしょ、これに似たものを。
Training?
そっか、これって
やっと分かったみたいね。
おい、二人だけで納得しとらんで、わしらにも教えんか。
Share with the rest of the class. Alice sighed and stretched her neck from side to side.
これは多分とあるテロ組織の暗号表だと思うわ。
テロ組織？
クレイドールズっていう名前の組織。
Myrmidons? For some reason, I felt like I'd heard that name before. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
何なんですか？そのクレイドールズって。
世界を破滅に導こうとしている不穏な集団よ。
So we are going to kick Dio's ass. Hell yeah!
そいつらが使っているのがこの暗号表というわけか。
もちろんパターンはいくつもあるけど、これはそのうちの一つだと思うの。
じゃあ爆弾を仕掛けたのはそのクレイドールズのメンバーってことになりますね。
ええ、断言はできないけど、おそらく。
Damn, I got a ton of questions for you. But let me start with this one. What the heck does that thing say?
そんなのわかるわけないでしょ。解読するためのキーがないんだから、完全にお手上げよ。
四つ葉もか。
アリスがわからないのに私がわかるわけないじゃん。
そうか。
Not much we can do then. We can come back to that code stuff later. I got another question. Alice, Clover, who the hell are you? What do you know about this code? You told me your job was to eliminate enemies of the state or something like that. Just what the hell kind of job is that? I think it's time you told us what you do.
悪いけど、それは言えないわ。
Why not?
あなたが爆弾を仕掛けた犯人、クレイドールズのメンバーかもしれないからよ。
Well, that's idiotic. Of course I'm
そうじゃ
not.
ないっていう保証なんてどこにもないでしょ。敵に情報を与えるわけにはいかないのよ。
I'm not your enemy. I'm your ally. I'm your friend. I just want all of us to get out of here. Just, please, tell us. Please. We need to find out who did this so we can all escape. But we have too little information. We need your help. Fine. If you want to tell us about yourself, then tell us about the Myrmidons. What else do you know about them?
ごめんなさい。
Before I could blink, she leapt up and ran out of the room. Hey, wait, Alice! I took off after her.
いつまでついてくるつもり？
Until you tell me what you
だった
know.
ら四つ葉に聞けばよかったじゃない。あの子が私の仲間だってもう気づいてるんでしょ？
Well,
だった
yeah.
ら
I want to hear it from you.
なんでよ。
That's a good question. Remember the coup quarters? Or the garden? We got paired up for 2 separate rounds. That means I spent more time with you than anyone else here. Maybe that's it. I guess I'm just curious about you.
何よそれ。
She spun around to hide it, but I caught a blush of red on her cheeks. We walked down the path to where it ended next to the pond. I stayed silent. Alice sat down on the bench. We gazed at the smooth surface of the pond for several long minutes before she began to speak.
憎んでないの？
What? Why?
私はあなたを殺そうとしたのよ。
You get used to it. I already died in a bunch of other timelines. You mean in the AB game?
怖かったのよ。突然こんなところに閉じ込められて、わけのわからないゲームをさせられて。爆弾のことだってそう。あれを見つけた時、冷静に話してたように聞こえたかもしれないけど、それに輪をかけるようにあのことが重なって。
What do you mean?
クオークが倒れたって聞いて、みんなで医務室に駆けつけた時のことよ。あの時私、みんなが何を言ってるのかまるでわからなかったの。周りのすべての光景がなんていうか早送りの映像のように見えて。 そのうち自分が誰なのかもわからなくなって、まるで自分が自分じゃないような、そんな感覚にとらわれて。
That was probably the Radical Six.
ええ、多分そうだと思う。その後のことはよく覚えてないけど、とにかく医務室で目覚めた途端、たちまちあの時の恐怖が蘇ってきたの。だから私は一刻も早く脱出したいって、そう思って。あなたが死ぬかもしれないなんて考えもしなかったわ。あなたが死ぬかどうかなんてどうでもよかったのよ。ほらね、憎いでしょ。殺したくなった？私のこと。
What? Do what?
殺しなさいよ。さ
あ。I've already seen you die enough times. I don't think I want to see it again. Please. For everyone's sake. I don't want to see you die again. What the hell, Alice? I'm not going to kill you. I don't even hate you.
嘘よ。一歩間違えば死ぬところだったのよ。
Come on, calm down. No one's killing anyone. A single tear rolled down Alice's cheek. Then another, and another, leaving shining lines across her face. When I reached out, I saw her tense just slightly. Slowly, I brushed my thumb across her cheek, across her cheek and off, taking her tears with it.
どうしてそんな風に優しくしてくれるの？なんだか亡くなった父のことを思い出すわ。
That's who you're after, right? The people who killed your dad.
ええ。
Did they have anything to do with the Myrmidons?
私が泣いたこと、四つ葉に黙っててくれる？
Come on.
もしも黙っててくれるなら、口止め料として教えてあげるわ。クレイドールズのことも、それから私自身のことも。
Sure. My lips are sealed.
本当に？
What crying? I don't remember any crying.
そう。それじゃあ聞かせてあげるわ。
Alice took a deep breath and began. My father is Egyptian, but my mother is French. They met while my mother was in Egypt on vacation and married shortly thereafter. When I was 3, we all moved to the US. Aww. My father was a scientist and his field was cloning. He was recruited by an American lab, which was why we moved. Both my parents had used English around me from the time I was born, so I didn't have any problems adapting to life in the United States. By my 9th birthday, we'd been there for 6 years. That was when it happened. In the middle of the day, my mother showed up at school. Her eyes were red and puffy, but she didn't say anything to me on the drive home. When we arrived, there were several policemen there to meet us. My father had always been a very punctual man, and when dinner time came and went with no sign of him, he and I began to realize something terrible had happened. It wasn't until several years later that I finally learned the truth. My father's lab had been attacked by terrorists, and he had been kidnapped. For the rest of my childhood, my mother raised me by herself. I didn't realize it then, but it must have been incredibly difficult for her. As a single mother alone in a country where any relatives were a transatlantic flight away, she did her best to not let me see it, but every so often, when she thought she was alone, the mask would fall away and in every line of her face I could see exhaustion and loneliness. As much as I missed my father, it was those moments that made me wish, more than anything, that he'd never been taken. Fortunately, I was an excellent student, and did especially well in math. I earned a full-ride scholarship straight out of high school and spent the next several years studying. After graduation, I took a job with the Department of Defense, hoping that they might have the resources to help me look for my father. I was immediately assigned to the Special Office of Internal Security. Their purpose is to investigate and sometimes deal with terrorist organizations and other serious threats to the state. I could tell my mother I wasn't happy about my decision, but she chose to remain silent about it. Eventually, I learned that the terrorist organization that had taken my father was none other than the Myrmidons. Although at the time, that name didn't mean anything to me. They were suspected of human cloning, specifically it was thought that they had been using cloning techniques to copy most of their useful members and expand their ranks. The Myrmidons apparently believed they could use cloning to create a new race of humans. And now at last I knew the reason for my father's abduction. The commander of the Myrmidons is a man named Left. We know his name and his gender, but not his appearance or age. The Myrmidons are closely associated with the cult known as Free the Soul. We believe that Free the Soul provides their funding. But trying to pin any kind of misdeeds on the cult's leader, a man named Brother, is like trying to nail Jello to a wall. Brother's supposed to be fairly advanced in years, and rumors say he's so old he can't even get out of bed. Unfortunately, his mind seems to be as sharp as ever. At that point, I hit a wall. I knew the Myrmidons had been behind my father's kidnapping. That was all I could learn about them. Then one day I got a tip that some of them were hiding in a building in the Nevada desert. I'd headed out immediately. On the way there, my car had some engine trouble and stalled out. I was trying to decide what to do when an SUV appeared out of nowhere. I'll give you one guess who was behind the steering wheel. Clover. That was the first time we met. Kinda odd to, like, go out and investigate a building in the middle of a desert with these clothes for an assignment. In Nevada. There were 4 other people in the car with her, and when I asked them what they were doing, When I asked them what they were doing, I got what was just about the last answer I'd expected. They told me they'd been locked up inside of the very building I'd been on my way to investigate, and that they were currently in pursuit of the people who had kidnapped them in the first place. My priorities shifted very quickly. After a short discussion, I convinced them to allow me to come along. My hope was to find the people they were chasing, who I was certain were Myrmidons. In the end, however, we were unable to track them down. In fact, I still don't know where they might have gone. Eventually, I took Clover and her companions to SOIS headquarters. We decided that involving the police would only complicate things. After some questioning, it was determined that the people who had instigated this particular event were not connected to the Myrmidons. We did, however, discover the mysterious disappearance and subsequent reappearance of several children 9 years prior that was connected to Free the Soul. There was a sixth person in the SUV, although they weren't riding in it per se. A middle-aged man, who I'll just call H for now, had been bound and placed in the trunk. According to the other 4, he had been behind the disappearance of the children 9 years earlier. We also learned that his pharmaceutical company, a major player on the world stage, was effectively controlled by Free the Soul. Oh. More specifically, I suppose, H was a member of Free the Soul, and very committed to their cause. So why had he kidnapped all those children? Apparently it had been part of an experiment designed to test the ability of certain people to access what's called the morphogenetic field. I don't imagine you've ever heard of it, but so I'll try to give you a quick rundown. Simply put, these people can access a sort of field that allow their consciousness to resonate with the consciousness of certain other people. To be honest, it might be simpler to call it telepathy. The SOIS had heard of this particular ability before. Have you ever heard of the morphogenetic field? Nah, do tell! What is this crazy new wild concept? And had actually used it in a number of investigations, so I wasn't surprised to learn of its existence. I was shocked, however, to learn that these experiments had been carried out by a member of Free the Soul. If that was the case, then Brother must have known about it. The thought of him discovering a way to control and harness that power was terrifying. It wasn't too long after the incident in Nevada that another tip about the Myrmidons crossed my desk. This time it claimed that the Myrmidons intended to launch a large-scale biological terrorist attack. My bosses decided that we needed more agents to deal with the threat of that magnitude, and Clover was recruited. Because she had been a test subject in H's experiment, we knew she had the ability to access the morphogenetic field, and we wanted to put that ability to use. After several months of training, she was sent on her first mission. She would have been tasked with the infiltration and investigation of a Myrmidon cloning lab. I was assigned to be her commanding officer. I'd hoped that our investigation might also give me a lead on my father's whereabouts. At last, I had a chance to find out what had happened to him. I wouldn't let that chance pass me by. Perhaps that was what kept me from noticing the truth. The whole operation was a trap. The lab was fake, and Clover was captured almost immediately. I got there as fast as I could. When I arrived, the building was only an empty shell. All the conspirators who pretended to be researchers and the like had already fled. I searched frantically for Clover until at last, in a basement room, I found her. She had been tied up in a chair, but on the floor next to her was another body. It was my father. He looked as if he had just been dumped there. And when I got to him, his body was already cold. Wait, hold on. Okay. He was covered in dark, ugly bruises. It wasn't until later that I learned that he had died from ruptured organs and internal bleeding. They had already beaten him to death. As soon as Clover had been captured, a Myrmidon in a mask had come to visit her. It said that unless she wanted to end up like my father, she would leave them alone, and tell her masters at the SOS to do likewise. In retrospect, they must have known who I was, and who my father was. That was why they killed him. Perhaps they thought they were sending a message to me. Or that once he was gone, I'd lose my reason for chasing them. They were very, very wrong. I took Clover with me and left. I tried to console myself with the fact that I had at least been able to save her. Sometime after, I received a call from the coroner. He told me there was something I needed to see. There in the morgue was my father, cold and pale on the steel table. I could barely stand to look at him, but the coroner insisted. On his arm were 2 rows of numbers comprised of 8s and 9s. It took me a moment to recognize my father's handwriting. He had carved them into his own skin. On his chest was another message, but they were letters this time, not numbers. Not many though, or not many, just enough to make a short sentence. I love you, Alice. I broke down crying, right there in the morgue. They were the first tears I'd shed since the operation had started, and there was no stopping them. There would be no forgiveness. Not for the monsters who put my father through this. They'd destroy my family. I would make them pay, even if I had to die to do it. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would avenge my father. It didn't take long to figure out that the numbers he had written were longitude and latitude. They pointed to a chemical factory that had been disguised as an abandoned building. Further investigation revealed that it was the mother lode we'd been looking for, the headquarters of the Myrmidons. I think my father must have known how things would turn out. Knowing he was going to die, he'd written the directions to our enemy's fortress on his own body. He sacrificed too much for me to waste this opportunity with recklessness. This time, our operation would succeed. This time I wouldn't let my excitement put Clover, or any of my other agents, in danger. So we took our time, we gathered information, we did our research, and we planned. Finally, we were ready. December 25th, 2028 was going to be the day we finally set foot inside the Myrmidon stronghold. Hey, Achievement Slayer, have a nice lurk. Then, on the 22nd, only 3 days before the operation was scheduled to begin, a man in a gas mask appeared. So you inhaled that gas, passed out, and woke up here in the AB room?
これがクレイドールズと私に関することのすべてよ。もちろん細かい部分については端折ってるけど、大体の概要は分かったでしょ?
Yeah, thanks. She gave me a sad sort of smile and stood up.
さあ、戻りましょう。
Not yet. You started explaining a lot, but there's still one big question.
答え
Who here is a Myrmidon? One of us planted the bombs. And based off the code we found, it's pretty clear that the person, it's pretty clear that person is a Myrmidon,
ええ、
right?
そうね。
And I agree we need to figure out who they
突き
are.
止めるって言っても、
Well, that's what I want to ask you about. Do you have any clues?
思い当たること思い当たることね。あの暗号表を解読できれば、もしかしたら何かわかるかもしれないけど。
How can we do that?
だから言ったでしょ。そのためにはキーが必要なのよ。それがわからないことにはどうにも。
What's a key?
キーはキーよ。解読するための鍵のこと。クレイドールズはその鍵として長い桁数の数字を使っていて。
Wait. I wonder what the code is. Wait, a long string of numbers. Oh! Could that be... Oh! Oh! 7815361098380942419905519.
なんなのよ、その数字は。
I was almost as surprised as she was. The numbers had just kind of appeared in my mind, and I was saying them before I knew what I was doing. Alex looked at me incredulously, and I stared back.
待って、今の数字、もう一回言ってもらえる？
78 blah 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 blah.
それって、1984493551を3乗した数じゃない？
How do you... What? What? How do you know that? It's one thing to just remember the number. How do you know the exact fucking number to the power? What?
だから今シグマが言った25桁の数、それを素因数分解すると1984493551の3乗になるのよ。
We're talking about reducing an integer to a series of prime numbers that you multiply together to get to it, right? Like if you have 30, then you get 2 times 3 times 5, right?
そうよ。中学校で習ったでしょ？
I haven't heard about that term in forever, actually. They're saying that 19844 not or 198,449,351 is a prime, and that if you multiply it by itself 3 times, you get 7 blah 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 blah.
ええ。
Don't tell me you just did all that in your head.
いいえ、暗算よ。
Bruh. What, do you have a math PhD?
頭の中で計算したの。
Nah, you don't really need a PhD necessarily, but... What the fuck? What? No way! That's
言
impossible!
ったでしょ？
As impossible? What's more impossible? Mental math or remembering a string of 25 numbers from another timeline? Sigma! Sigma! God damn it, dude! I don't know about you guys, but I think mental math is a little bit too much for us here. Now transcending, like... I don't know how to phrase this. God damn it.
数学は人よりも得意だって。
Oh, that's not better at
そう
math.
いうあなただってたった今膨大な桁数の数字をスラスラと暗唱したじゃない。私に言わせれば そっちの記憶力の方が驚異的だわ。ところで今の25桁の数字
I didn't know what to say. What would I tell her? That it just came to me?
そう言えないのね。
It's more like I don't know how to tell you.
分かったわ。でもとにかく今の数字が例の暗号表を解読するためのキーになってることは間違いないと思う。クレイドールズが素数をかけたものをキーとして使ってるってことは分かってるから。
They use prime factors for the keys?
デタラメな25桁の数字、その3乗項が偶然素数になる確率なんて限りなくゼロに近いし、ってことは25桁の数字は何者かの手によって作為的に生成された可能性が高いってことになるわ。
Could you explain that with small words?
だから要するに25桁の数字を素因数分解したもの198449351の3乗が暗号を解くためのヒントになってるってこと。まだわからない？さっき医務室で見た暗号表思い出してみて。モニターにはなんて出力されてた？
I think the first row was... How the fuck? How the fuck? I can't. I don't fucking care how good his memory is. How the fuck do you memorize 26 letters in a row in that specific order? Sigma has a really good memory. I mean, I guess his memory's so good he remembers shit in other timelines he's died in. I mean, I guess I'll just have to give them the benefit of the doubt there. Just like how Alice is good with that good with mental math, Sigma's just that good at remembering shit in other timelines he's died in. Sure. Oh, for fuck's sake.
2行目は
BY It would have been more believable if he said, "Oh wait, let me get like a Oh. Wait, right, there's no such thing as a notebook. We got brain memory. We got brain memory. I think. Then they just repeat.
それにしてもやっぱりすごい記憶力ね。私たちの組織に欲しいぐらいだわ。
Oh god, we're gonna get recruited. Oh, keep going. How do we decode that?
今の文字列にさっきの素数198449351を当てはめてみるのよ。
How do you do that?
左上から順番に1文字目のアルファベット、9文字目のアルファベット、8文字目のアルファベット。
So first number is 1, you take that, and the next number is 9, so you go 9 from the first.
といった感じで文字を拾い読みしていけばいい。そうすれば多分解けると思うわ。
I mean, they'll probably just spell it out for me, but 1984. So 1984, 493, and 51. So C then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's supposed to be P. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1. That's D. C O M Oh, it just says completed. I ran over what she said in my head. The prime number Alice had given me was blah 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 blah, so what would we get? First letter we see... Eventually we get a word, and that word was... You have 6 chances to succeed, fail, and the game is over. The code sheet won't be displayed when you input your answer, so it'd be wise to solve it now. I did it! Completed! That's it! That's the answer! Yeah, I did exactly what you told me to do, and the word I got was completed. Well, actually it's completed, completed, completed. 3 bombs. The code and letters repeat every 2 lines. It just repeats.
私は暗号表の文字列を正確に記憶しているわけじゃないから、あなたがそこまで強く言うなら、多分そうなのね。
I'm definitely certain.
分かったわよ。でも、コンプリーティッドって何かしら
What? Aside from the obvious you mean. I'm guessing it means mission complete. So that's what the transmitter was for.
やつって誰よ通信機って何
I barely even heard her. Sadly, my mom's full of memories that hadn't been there a moment before. It was like a wave had washed away the sand, revealing a bed of precious gems underneath. Oh, we're remembering. Let's go. Let's kick Dio's ass and get the knife away from him, please. Oh God. Damn it! Why hadn't I realized it before? I can remember a series of numbers, but not this? At last I remembered it now. Dio was a member of the Myrmidons. Not just any member. He was their leader. That meant he had to be the one who planted the bombs.
ねえ、ちょっと
Yeah.
だったら質問に答えなさいよ。やつって一体誰なの？通信機っていうのは何？
I didn't trust myself to try and explain it to her. Or more than likely she'd think I was insane. Even I could barely make sense of the sudden influx of new information.
まさかあなたがクレイドールズの一員だなんて言わないわよね。
If I was, do you really think I reveal myself like this?
まあ確かにそれもそうね。
Out of nowhere, Clover appeared. Oh no.
こんなところにいたんだ。探したんだからね。
Really?
今みんな B 階の倉庫に集まってて。
Oh, it's time for the showdown. Knowing how this would usually go, probably someone's gonna be held at a knife point or whatever. Dio just gonna carefully back into a room to try to get the hell out. Or, okay, this is what I think is gonna go down. We try to call out Dio. Because of some dialogue BS, he'll grab someone, put a knife right near the throat, take the other person... wait, no one died this timeline, right? No. Take the other person in the pair to walk into a white door. And, I mean, wait, oh no, wait, we don't know if Dio was a solo or a pair. Well, either way though, maybe try to threaten them in some way so that he'd get into a room, try to basically speed run the room and try to start up the AB game as soon as possible to to try to get out while everyone else is still stuck trying to solve puzzles, maybe. Maybe? I'm not sure how much of a good plan it is, but I mean, if you try to call him out like that, he wouldn't really have much room to go.
みんなっていうかルナとクオーク以外だけど
But Luna and Quark.
どうして？
We still got 45 minutes until the white doors open.
知ってる
Oh, okay. Hey, wait a minute. I thought you, Kay, and Quark didn't know about the white
医
doors.
務室で天明寺さんから聞いたの。それでどこにあるか教えてくれるって言うから天明寺さんに連れられて B 階の倉庫へ。
クオークのことはルナに任せることにしたのね。
そしたらそこにファイとケイとディオもいて、いきなりファイと天明寺さんとディオの3人が喧嘩を始めちゃったんだよ。
What?
なんでまた？原因は何？
According to Clover, the last AB game had been the cause of their fight. Even though Tenmyoji only had one BP, Phi had chosen Betray. They started the fight, and since Dio had pressed Betray on behalf of his team, he got dragged in too.
でもそれってなんかおかしくない？ファイだって BP は1だったんだから正当防衛だと思うけど。
ああ、もういいからとにかく来てよ。今は K が必死になって仲裁に入ってるけど、一人で3人を抑えるには限界が。
Okay, okay. Come on, Alice, let's go.
了解よ。